kiwi. It's a great little fruit, got kind of natural sweetness, tanginess, good tropical flavors. So today on Cooking with Parker, I'm gonna show you how to make a strawberry and kiwi tart. It'll be a complete like pastry cream, a pâte sucrée, which is a fancy French word for pastry dough. I adapted this from Thomas Keller's Bouchon cookbook. He has a nice strawberry tart in there, so I'm gonna replace the strawberries with some kiwis, highlight those. This is for my series Fruits A to Z. So K is for kiwi, cooking through the whole alphabet with different fruits. So let's go. We're gonna start by making our pastry cream. So we're gonna start with 2 cups of whole milk. I don't happen to have whole milk, so I'm gonna kind of do a little cheat. I always have 2% milk, just kind of what I like to use. So I'm doing almost 2 full cups of 2% milk, like 2 3/4, and then we're just gonna do a little 1/4 of a cup of heavy cream to kind of emulate the whole milk. Now that we got that, I got a nice saucepan. I put that in there just on a low heat and start warming that slowly up. His recipe called for using a bunch of metric systems. I think he probably actually uses a scale and weights, and which is more precise in cooking. You can kind of go either way. So with this, I'm just gonna do kind of a mix of both, but I'm starting off with 5 tablespoons of sugar into our milk. We're gonna just let that dissolve. As I said, it's on just a low heat, and then we're gonna work on some egg yolks next. 4, 5 there. So we want 1 whole egg, just kind of, the white's gonna help whip it up a little bit more easily. And then, as I said, we're gonna separate out some nice farm fresh eggs that I got. You can use any sort of large egg. There we got 4 egg yolks, 1 whole egg. So if you were counting, I actually did 7 tablespoons of sugar in there. It's gonna be all right because we're gonna mix it all together. So the whole recipe calls for 9 tablespoons split. So generally you do 5 in your pot, 4 with your egg yolks, but we're gonna do 7 and 2. We work out just fine in the long run. So I'm just gonna whisk these up till we get kind of nice, creamy texture. It'll take a couple minutes. If you have an electric mixer, you can use that as well. I'm missing my electric whisk attachment, so that's about all I'm giving it. It's kind of nice yellow, pale, lightened in color. Not gonna kill myself trying to whisk this too much. Next, I call for 1/2 cup or 60, which is gonna be 60 grams of cornstarch. So as I said, you can weigh things out, measure them out, either one works, but weighing it out is gonna be a little more precise. I'm gonna go with that. The cornstarch is gonna thicken it up, and then we're gonna cook it just on a low heat, and that's gonna bind our pastry cream together. Next, we're gonna do what's called tempering. So we're gonna slowly pour in just a little bit of our cream and sugar, or milk and sugar mixture into our egg yolk and cornstarch mixture. You don't wanna cook the eggs or scramble them, so you gotta be pretty delicate with this, but just kind of take your time, slowly pour in your milk while whisking. Go ahead and pour the whole thing into my mixing bowl, and then we'll return it to the pot. Nickname I got at the restaurant is Parknado. You know, park and tornado, because I often leave destruction or a mess in my path. I've gotten a lot better than when I started there, but still kind of own up to my name every now and then. All right, now our custard base goes back into our heat, onto our pot, still at low heat here. I'm gonna cook this till it reaches 160. Starts off nice and frothy like this, and as it cooks, the foam's gonna kind of disappear. It's gonna start to thicken up. You gotta be whisking kind of the whole time. But it does need to come to a simmer. The cornstarch won't activate and provide the proper thickening qualities unless it reaches a nice simmer. So my thermometer is also at like 160 right now. It's kind of more of a guideline. I'm looking more for when it really starts to thicken up nicely. The recipe originally calls for using whole vanilla seeds, but since I'm using kiwis, I decided the vanilla, and there it is. So now it's nice and thick. Go ahead and remove it off the heat. Keep whisking. You don't want any lumps in your pastry cream. Anyways, sorry, I got distracted there. What was I saying? And we're also gonna work in just 2 tablespoons of butter. That'll help give it a nice shine, you know, some nice extra flavor, and cool it off a little bit. Oh yeah, vanilla, that's what I was talking about. So the kiwi, you know, the nice citrus flavors, I decided didn't pair quite as nicely with vanilla, so left that out of there. But if you're making a traditional pastry cream, you definitely want to use vanilla, or vanilla beans are really nice. So rather than using the vanilla, I got some Grand Marnier. So this is a nice orange liqueur. It'll pair nicely with kind of the tropical flavors. The recipe calls for this as well, that I've kind of adapted. And cooking with alcohol always gives a little lift to dishes, but you don't have to use it. You can leave it out if you need to for whatever reason. We're just gonna do 1 kind of shot of this, 2 tablespoons. There we go. Look at that, it's nice, super smooth. Go ahead and try it. Always taste as you go. Large mixing bowl here, it's gonna help cool it down. And so we're just gonna, nice spatula, make sure we get all this in there. Grab some cling wrap. Press this over top. That's gonna help prevent a film from developing on top of our pastry cream. Then I pop this in the fridge, let it sit out for probably a couple hours or so. You can even do this day in advance if you want. All right, so while that's cooling, we're gonna make our pâte sucrée. As I said, just French for pastry cream. Well, it's a really specific thing actually. It's a nice enriched cream. We're gonna use some powdered sugar, a little bit of egg. So I'm doing 11 ounces of unsalted butter first. Just kind of breaking this up so it'll cream a little bit easier. All right, now we're gonna weigh out some powdered sugar. One of the reasons I suspect he kind of converted it from weighing things to the kind of US cup measurement is because it calls for 3/4 cup plus 2 tablespoons of powdered sugar. So that's gonna be 97 or almost 100 grams. And so, you know, like, it's kind of, why wouldn't you just do 3/4 cup or a full cup, 3/4 cup and 2 tablespoons? That's mostly because of the conversion factor. So pour a little too much in, just pull some out. There we go, 98 grams. Pour this in with my butter. We're just gonna cream these together. So just kind of work it with my paddle attachment until it's nice and smooth. Tornado strikes again. Nice and creamy like that. Go ahead and shut this off. Add 1 egg. So this isn't really typical in like a pie dough. It's almost like a short crust recipe or like a nice cookie recipe in some ways. You don't want to whip too much air into it though. That's part of why I use a paddle versus a whisk attachment, so it doesn't develop quite as much air. It calls for scant 2 cups. So I'm gonna do like 230 grams of flour rather than 240 would be a full 2 cups of flour. We'll just kind of work it in as it's going though, so we see how kind of thick of a dough we want. So slowly kind of working our flour. Just work this till we get it kind of nice. Starts to come together as a ball. Nice kind of crackly dough, I would say. Pour this out, pour it directly onto like your counter if you want, but I got a nice kind of pastry mat. It's a pretty sticky dough right now, but you don't want to develop too much gluten either. That's going to make it a little bit tougher. So it's just work it till it's nice kind of smooth ball, but you don't want to overwork it. Try to scrape everything out of the mixing bowl, off the whisk, but you know, leave any behind. It's kind of the chef's bonus. Just gonna wrap this up nice and tight and pop it in the fridge to let it rest. Give it a good hour or so in the fridge. Like I said, you know, cooking with Parker, I'm gonna snack a little bit, make a little bit of mess, show you what I know. Nothing too fancy going on here. All right, pastry dough's nice and rested, have a nice little nap. Go ahead and pull this out. I'm gonna roll this out to about 11 or 12 inches. Just using my rolling pin, back and forth. With a little bit of flour to make sure it doesn't stick. I just want this wide enough to go around my tart pan. Doesn't have to be a perfect circle or anything. I'm gonna get on the circle in a second. I'm gonna just put a little thin layer of butter around the edge and bottom of our tart pan. If you don't have a tart pan, don't worry. You can, borrow or steal one from your mom, like I did, or go out to. Probably have to get it off Amazon or online. I went to Target and Walmart and Whole Foods or Home Goods. None of those had a replacement one, but just kind of give it a nice little coating. Just wanted to help keep it from sticking to the bottom of the pan. Dust off that flour. And then they always say to roll up your pastry on your rolling pin. Since I got my pastry mat, I'm just going to use that to kind of easily move it instead. Just going to lay this over top of our pan. Then lift up. It's about 1/4 of an inch thick too, so it's a kind of nice thick dough. Just want to kind of push it along the side there. Most recipes will kind of tell you to cut it off with a paring knife, but I think the tart edge has a nice kind of edge to it, so I'm just going to press along that, kind of cut it off. And there we go. And we'll do what's called docking, so just put some holes in the bottom of the pan. That'll help keep it from puffing up at all as well. All right, we're gonna pop this back in the fridge to give it a nice little kind of power nap, help it kind of hold to the pan, and we're gonna preheat the oven at the same time. So, a lot of the times the first instruction on the recipe is to preheat your oven, but you're wasting a lot of energy that way. So wait till 15, 20 minutes out. So this comes right at 20 minutes. So it's perfect time to start preheating in our oven. We're gonna do what's called blind baking. So we're gonna bake this without the filling inside of it. We don't wanna bake that filling anymore. It's nice custard, pastry cream filling. So I should have stolen the pie weights from my mom as well, but I forgot that. So I'm just using some rice that I have. Rice and beans work just as well. Some chefs use the same thing of rice or same thing of beans over and over and again, because it's kind of what they had as their practice. We just wanna smooth this out. It's gonna help keep the bottom from baking or puffing up as well. So that's all there is to it really. We're gonna pop this in the oven. Actually, first we're gonna put this on top of a sheet pan in case the butter leaks out, and it's gonna make it easier to transfer back and forth. We'll just let that cook for 25, 30 minutes till it gets golden brown, and then actually remove the rice halfway through or partway after that cooking, cook it a little bit more, finish the crust. Instead, about halfway through the cooking, go ahead and remove our rice so the bottom can get nice and golden brown as well. You can use this rice to eat, or as I said, kind of reuse it. Just gonna pop it back in the oven and keep cooking. Alright, so while that finishes baking, I'm gonna go ahead and prep the topping or the starburster or kiwi. So I got some nice traditional kiwi and also splurged and got some nice Sungold kiwi. So they say these are a little bit sweeter. I've actually only had them once or twice. But I'm just gonna use my paring knife, cut the top and bottom off of all these kiwis. And then this inside should come out nice and easily, as long as they're nice and ripe. So. Moment of truth, just put our spoon underneath the skin. There we go. And then you should be able to kind of twist around the outside. There we go, nice kiwi. So the riper they are, the easier this works. This one's not quite as ripe as that one. It's middle of January, so you can't expect to have grapefruit year round, but Just kind of working with my series, you know, up through K at this point. So go ahead and go into this. Summertime, I did some really nice kind of melon videos, some other stuff. So it's kind of as I go along with my YouTube channel. Also a little bit more of the fruit there, but it'll still work all right for our garnish. Let's see how well these Sungold do. Not too bad. Might just peel this naturally though. I think it'll work a little bit easier than trying to use that spoon, you know. Use a sharp knife when you got it. Proper tool for the proper job. All right. I'm gonna cut nice thin little rings for this. I'm gonna layer them on top of our tart here in a little bit. Go ahead and give this a try. Sungold was pretty nice. I got it for the color as well, so I got some nice juxtaposition. But it's a little bit more expensive than a regular kiwi. Kind of gotta buy it in the clamshells, but it is nice. Then other people say you can eat the skin. Don't listen to them. You don't want to eat kiwi skin. That's false. Apple skin, pear skin, sure. Kiwi skin, no. I'm also gonna grab some strawberries. So you know, growing up I always liked strawberry and kiwi juices. That flavor combination is kind of nostalgic for me. So just kind of about a cup or so of strawberries, just a handful. Again, wintertime, these strawberries aren't going to be super great. Let's go ahead and try one. I mean, it's not too bad. Can't blame our, you know, modern society and access to fruit. It's pretty nice. One moment. Stop timer. All right, there we go. Our golden kiwis, regular kiwis, and strawberries should be perfect for our topping. There we go, our nice pâte sucrée or pastry dough. It's sunk a little bit. It's nice golden on the edges, a little lighter there, but I don't want to keep cooking it. It's got a wire rack. I'm going to move that to that to help cool it off just a little bit faster. I'll let this come completely to room temp before we can continue on. So. Yeah, no, great British baking show. Watch that a lot. I might make something a little bit like this. Probably do a better job than me. Well, time constraints are always tricky too. But always spanning things to cool them down. I got time. Just let it cool naturally. I'm also gonna make a quick glaze for the tart. It's gonna give some extra shine to it. So I got some apricot preserves. About a third of a cup of this. Most people say, thin it out with water, but we already got some Grand Marnier in our pastry cream, so we're gonna add a nice little dollop of that as well. And just warm it up and soften it in the microwave. There we have that. Our thing is starting to cool off a little bit more. Go ahead and remove the bottom. Then you can leave it on the base if you want, but a little bit more better presentation, go ahead and remove that. Go ahead and put it directly on our serving tray. There we go. Yeah, the flavor of this crust is just delicious. This is now completely cool. I'm gonna go ahead and grab our pastry cream. Move that plastic wrap. I said, did this first so I had plenty of time to cool all the way down from the boil. So break it up a little bit with my offset spatula. Also borrowed that from my mother. Was able to find a new one at Home Goods. I'm just gonna pour this into our pastry crust. Thomas Keller's recipe said there might be a little bit extra. That's fine by me. It's good all on its own. I want it as smooth as possible, but I'm gonna layer the fruit on top so you won't notice if it's not completely smooth. Now to assemble this, I'm just gonna start from the outside. Place strawberry, place a green kiwi next, yellow kiwi. Just kind of repeat that pattern until we cover the whole thing. You can overlap a little bit or have them kind of separate. You can just heap it all on there if you want, but doing this kind of pattern is gonna get a really nice kind of final product. Now we'll take our apricot preserves and Grand Marnier mixture. So just give it kind of a nice shine. If you're not serving it right away, it kind of helps preserve it a little bit. One more like flavor component as well, but the apricot's pretty mild in flavor, so it's not gonna overpower the kiwi and strawberries and pastry cream and all that. Just getting myself a nice slice here. The pastry cream's the consistency I'm looking for, and the pastry crust is also great. I brought in the rest of what I made this for my coworkers, and they all loved it. Look at that. Can't wait to take a bite. Time for my favorite part of the video. I'm making these, the final taste test. That is just incredible. You got kiwi flavor coming in strong, the pâte sucrée, the nice pastry crust, pastry cream, the filling's really nice, light, really flavorful, and strawberries, apricot, kind of balancing things out. This dish is a winner right here. So hopefully you liked the video. Remember, K is for kiwi. I'm going through the whole alphabet, so I started A is for apple. Recently did J is for jackfruit. Next week I'm doing something with a lemon, because that's the most obvious fruit, starting with L. And I'll see you around. Almost forgot, don't forget to subscribe to my channel as well. I've got all sorts of other things as well, showing you how to make salmon, chicken, shorts, just fun stuff I'm cooking for myself, little other kitchen hacks. That's all I got for you.